have New York football is kind of on the rise. We talked about the Giants and their big win against the Packers. The Jets had a pretty great win against the Dolphins, and I mean, they handled business. They did what they did, and it was surprising to see them take care of the Dolphins like that. I mean, obviously they didn't have Teddy Bridgewater. He went
They didn't
out
have
with an
Tua. They had
injury, and
Teddy
they didn't have
Bridgewater.
Tua. Well, Teddy Bridgewater got injured that
Oh
game
yeah,
too,
yeah, yeah. He
so
did.
they didn't have him for the majority of the game. But the Jets put up 40 points.
Hmm.
That's commendable. And it seems like Robert Salah has the Jets headed in the right direction, and their defense is playing a little bit. They're playing a little bit better than they were last year, and their offense is putting up points. I think Zach Wilson's coming into his own. They're obviously Brees is just a beast, and Garrett Wilson is obviously he's coming into his own as well and having himself a season. But again, it's looking good in New York for football.
Yeah, for two teams that drafted high in the first round. I mean, top 10 picks for both of them. Um, Terrible records. They're both, seem to have turned things around to be some serviceable football teams. Um, you know, New York. I mean, there hasn't been good New York teams in a while now since the last time the Giants were playoff teams, really. And yeah, it's good to see for such a an important city with football, right? The history, especially for the Giants, one of the more storied franchises, but even the Jets, with Broadway Joe and some of the other things going on in their history, for them to both to kind of have this turnaround a year after bad years for the both of them. It's fun to watch. We know football is in the NFL is one of these things where we see teams be able to go from last to first and also from first to last on a yearly basis. We see these type of things happen.
Yeah,
Not saying that either of these teams are all of a sudden jumping up to win their
playoff and
divisions and go deep in on playoff runs, but for both of these teams, it's early in the season, but it's a step, right? This is what you want to see as a fan, as an organization, as a player, as a coach, to just make some progress and have things go the right way. Both teams utilizing, uh, you know, both rookies and newer guys, either guys that are free agents, guys that weren't there, guys that maybe have been around but haven't gotten to playing time. Both staffs are kind of doing things their way, finding guys that they think can get things done and putting them in a scheme where they could succeed. And,
right.
we talked about, the Giants getting that win against the Packers. Now the Jets get that win against the Dolphins. Um, yeah, definitely,
Commendable football.
commendable and something for a city with all these fans to at least have a product that they can go and watch and not
Right.
feel like
Embarrassed to watch
yeah,
the
embarrassed to watch a game,
Giants.
or you watch a game to get blown out every week and nothing goes right and you can't put up any points, you can't stop
Uh,
anyone. This is where it starts. You gotta have some competitive football, and it
right.
all starts from there.
And I think regardless of how the outcome of the season is, at this point, we have the Jets at or the Giants sitting at 4-1, and it's kind of like for the Giants, it's been turmoil for years upon years. I mean, that's kind of been the case for the Jets, but the Giants have always been a little bit ahead of the Jets. Um, but for the Giants, it's like there's been times where it's like we've watched games last year, and it's like what are we even watching? The product,
Disaster.
yeah, it's just a disaster. You have Daniel Jones doing a QB sneak. It's just no creativity. It just looks like a bland offense. It looks like there's no continuity. Nobody's on the same page. Um, it's nice to see what I've liked from Daniel Jones, at least from this season, is that he's taking care of the ball. He's minimalizing the mistakes. He's going through progressions, doing a lot of what Dable probably wants him to do. Um, again, I think they still have to find their number one receiver. They still have to kind of capitalize on finding that guy in the receiving core. But Saquon's back. Saquon's a top five rusher this year. We didn't have that last year, and that's something that they could build on as well. And it's good to just see them winning games again. Same thing with the Jets. The Jets, they have a great run offense, and this is something that they've lived off of for years in the when they had Thomas Jones and they were doing well and they were making the playoffs, they had these components to their team. So again, it's really great to see New York get back on track a little bit, and it's something that I look forward to seeing throughout the season. So